Well. I have to push on.
You have to push the button, yes.
Welcome to the February 14th, 2024 Valentine's edition of the full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 6. We are planning on running an efficient and time-sensitive meeting this evening. My name is Sandy McKee and I am the chair of CD6. This meeting is called to order at 6:31 p.m. Tonight we are joined by Board Secretary Lydia Shrednick, District Manager Jesus Perez, Assistant District Manager Brandon Byrne, and the Community Coordinator Brian Lafferty. New York State law requires.
There's an echo on your mic. There's an echo coming through.
Maybe you take it away.
They told me not to do that.
We'll try this. New York State law requires all community board members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. We have the following ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Wait for me to recognize you prior to making your motion or comment. It is important that only one person speaks at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said. Please wait until you are in front of a mic to speak, as we've heard feedback from viewers at home and even in-person attendees that our meetings are hard to hear at times. The chat function should only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing what has already been stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Members of the public, if you wish to give remarks during the public session and have not already registered by filling out a form, you can register to speak in the public session on Zoom by using the Q&A feature and posting your name, your affiliation, and what specific topic you wish to speak about. Or if you are here in person and want to speak in the public session, you need to fill out our public speaker form, which is near the sign-ins for the CV6 newsletter. This needs to be done by 7:15. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office, was posted online, and appears on the screen before you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm
In a moment, it'll appear on the screen before you.
there it is.
There it is, magic.
Great. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand. Great. Seeing no objection, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Livia will now take the attendance by roll call.
Apologize if I mess up anything, just let me know afterwards. Do my best. Okay. Majed Abdul Samid. Kyle Athane.
Present.
Okay. Neil Barkley. Martin Barrett. LV Barroso. Claire Brennan. Jim Collins. Jonathan DeRico. Stuart Deser.
Present.
Beatrice Desmond.
Present.
Barack Friedman. Jason Fromowitz. Eric Goldberg. Gerald Jones. Paige Judge. Rupal Kakad. Present. John Keller.
Present.
Nadeem Kalani. Abigail Kruzmark. Sandra Leftoff. David Lowenstein. Anton Malner. Sandra McKee.
Present.
Richard Mintz.
Present.
Rajesh Nair. Kevin O'Keefe. Stephen O.
Present.
Brishma Patel. Stephen Perez. Miriam Ralph. Matt Roberts. Roberto Ruiz Melendez. Lawrence Shayer.
Present.
Anne Seligman.
Present.
Sandro Sherrod.
Present.
Livia Shrenick, present. Letty Simon,
Present.
Susan Sneinberg, Mark Thompson,
Present.
Gabriel Turzo, Jerry Weinstein, Matthew Weintraub, Sarah Whittington,
Present.
Hayder Zeddy,
And Anton Molnar is here.
I have quorum.
Our elected officials sent over their reports ahead of time, and you can find all of their reports that were submitted on the CB6 website. The link to the reports was disseminated ahead of time to all board members and the general public, and for your convenience, it can be found in the chat on Zoom. Those attending in person can find the link by going to our website's page for full board meetings. The elected officials who have RSVP'd will take questions from CB6 members and the public about their pre-submitted reports. Each elected official will have 1 minute to field questions. If an elected official has a time-sensitive matter that didn't make it into their pre-submitted report, they have 3 minutes to do so now. During this part of the meeting, we will also hear from our government agency representatives who have requested to address the board tonight. Our elected officials sent over the reports ahead of time. You can find them, all of the reports that were submitted on the website. Okay, the elected officials who have RSVP'd will take, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. So list of elected officials. We have Marissa Yanni from the New York City Department of Sanitation.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Just want to let everybody know that starting March 1st, all commercial businesses will have to containerize their trash and organic material. Currently, that rule only applies for chain businesses and for food-related businesses. So this expands to every single type of business, regardless of what they're selling. There will be a 1-month warning period, so we will not start enforcement until April 1st. We are going around to all the bids and to businesses, merchant associations, to let everybody know. If you know of any businesses that you think could use a little more TLC, could use a little more attention, please do let me know. I know Jesus and Brendan definitely do have my email. Thank you again for letting me be here tonight, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. We now have Curtis Young
Yes.
from the Public Advocate's Office.
I'll be very brief. I will give good evening, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day, and also happy Black History Month. I tried to wear red today, and I can find my old fraternity cardigan that's red. So much love to you all. First of all, I want to just share that that it is imperative that we be prepared for winter storms and continual climate disasters. There is a blog on our website that you can find more information on how to better prepare yourself as New Yorkers, as well as just people in general who need to be prepared for all sorts of disasters we have these days that are new and byproducts of a variety of things. So that's on our website. We also want to remind you all that we have a few upcoming events, including our Black History Month celebration, which is going to happen at 1 Center Street on February 26th. I'll make sure the office gets that information. And we're going to be celebrating 8 amazing advocates from from all 5 boroughs, those who have served as advocates for justice, climate change, environmental infrastructure, maternal health, civic engagement, a variety of leaders across our cities. We would love to have you there to help honor those amazing New Yorkers. The Public Advocate also want to share, as many of you know, the How Many Stops Act and solitary confinement bills passed in December. They are now law. There was a lot of information about that, a lot of misinformation, but you can find up-to-date information on our website as well as keeping track of other policy initiatives we have coming out in the next few weeks. So with that being said, I will close out and answer any questions. Hearing none, I'll pass the mic back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we have Justin Flagg from State Senator Liz Krueger's office.
Hello, I don't have anything to add to our report, but happy to take any questions.
No questions?
I think there's one from Anne on
Oh,
Zoom.
okay. I'm sorry. Yes, please. Anne, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I was curious about the legislation about Eric. First of all, I was a little bit surprised that we're not already part of it, but I was also surprised that the legislation was saying that it's authorizing it as in, I was curious why it was an authorization rather as opposed to a requirement to join Eric.
I'm not actually familiar with what is Eric.
So Eric is this used to be more national, but it's in in Liz's newsletter, but um it's a system that allows election officials all over the country to share voter information to make sure there's no duplication, that, like when people move, things are
Right.
clarified.
Right.
And I thought New York was already a part of it. So that sort of surprised me. And then what I think the legislation says, or what the newsletter said, was it's like authorizing the, like, or, whatever. It's not, because it's whatever the statewide equivalent of the Board of Elections is. It allows them to do it, but it doesn't require them to do it. And so I kind of wondered, like, if we think this is a good thing, why don't we tell them to do it? So that was the question.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm happy to look into it and see what I can find out, and I'll connect with you offline. Get you an
Cool.
answer.
Thanks.
Sure.
And next we have Senator Kristen Gonzalez on Zoom.
Hi, folks. How you doing? I apologize for not being in person. I am just hopped off the Amtrak from Albany because we're back in session. We're actually staying a little bit later between hearings and today budget work groups. But I wanted to personally hop on to say hello, say happy Valentine's Day. One thing that I love is civic engagement. So I think we were all celebrating Valentine's Day by staying engaged, joining the community board. And I wanted to also, of course, give you all some brief updates on the work that we're doing in our office, and then, in Albany. So office side, I wanted to invite everyone to our office hours, which I believe are on the 20th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Kips Bay Library. So would love to see you all there. We've also been doing, in addition to, of course, office hours, continued engagement on the casino proposal. We sent out, or if you haven't already received it, should be receiving a mailer with updates, debriefing what we had at our town hall, and are certainly encouraging folks to continue to reach out to provide comment to all of the electeds on the CAC. On the Mount Sinai Beth Israel front, this is really critical. Because I'm just hopping on, I'm not sure if some of the other electeds may have mentioned it already, but we are getting closer to that July deadline, and we have been in coalition with not only our community advocates and partners like all of you, so thank you for that work, but as elected officials from across levels of government. Last week we met with the second floor, as in the governor's office, and really communicated how unacceptable this closure is, unacceptable the timeline is, but it's going to take a lot more pressure, I think, on both the Department of Health, the governor's office, and I think it will on Mount Sinai as well, to really, oppose that application for closure and get that, and really have them hear our perspective and voices. So, I think we will be planning more. So would love for you folks to stay involved, stay engaged. Of course, we'll work with the community board. But there is an MSBI email for the governor, and if you have comment, we'll be sending those out so that folks can also send their comment directly to the governor's office. On the Albany side, Oh, can folks hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I went on mute for just a moment. But on the Albany side, I'll make it very quick. We are in the budget process, so fighting for all of the things from before, like affordable housing, a housing deal this session. In our committee, introducing AI legislation around elections, public sector use of artificial intelligence, as well as a private sector bill that is soon forthcoming. We also have a bill on retrofitting supporting homeowners with existing buildings or homes that like to retrofit for renewable energy. So we're addressing the climate crisis. And we're also introducing some amendments that we've worked in coalition with the Stop the Chop Coalition on our helicopter and seaplane bill. So we're also taking that on again this session. I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have, but I'll stop here because it might be a little loud.
First off, we have Gabe has a question and then Susan.
See you, Senator Gonzalez. Quick question. I fully support all the pressure on the Mount Sinai. Are we doing anything to change the factors that are going into this decision? It's sort of carrots and sticks question.
That's a phenomenal question. So in order to change the factors, we need to change the process, right? So what they consider when they either approve or deny a hospital closure as the Department of Health. In order to change that process, we need to pass legislation. And so I am a co-prime sponsor along with Senators Kavanaugh and the chair of the Health Committee, Senator Rivera, on a new bill to change that process, improve it. But because it's a new bill, even if we pass it this session and it was immediately effective, it still wouldn't be in time for this specific closure. So while we are working already, like we already have that legislation drafted, we're working on it, and we have broad support in the legislature for it because we've been talking to our colleagues about it. It really, at this point, is a matter of, I think, organizing on the ground. And then as electeds, what we've been doing is, again, engaging all the stakeholders to say that, you know, with the current process, it still is an unacceptable closure.
Susan was next, actually.
Hi, Kristen. Susan Steinberg here. Just points of information, the lawsuit that was filed against Mount Sinai Beth Israel and the Department of Health resulted in a temporary restraining order, which means that they should stop whatever they're doing, but we're hearing that they're continuing to empty out the hospital and department. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Susan. You know, I think the lawsuit was productive in getting that stay on closing services, but like you said, we're hearing the opposite when it comes to you know, the staff that are currently there. So the Department of Health recently did, I think, several days of interviews and actually visiting Mount Sinai, visiting the hospital, but they haven't reported back what they found. So we raised that concern. They actually went, but the Department of Health hasn't been particularly cooperative in sharing that information. And now with the lawsuit, you know, I think they're being a little bit even more reluctant to want to work or share as much as possible. So we are pushing them on that. You know, I really do appreciate the coalition of electeds that we put together, because it is going to take all of us, from our Congress members and to our council members, to make that, to push them, right, and not let them be so cagey about that information. But it is something we're tracking. My office is individually talking to a lot some of the staff in the hospital, so we're also keeping a close eye on how that's developing and if they're respecting the cease and desist.
Good. Jerry?
Yeah.
Senator, are you working with folks concerned about downstate?
Another phenomenal question on the closure of SUNY Downstate. Are folks in the room familiar with what that means? Should I provide some background? Sorry, I don't know if it was already covered, but yeah.
Quickly, please. Go ahead.
Very briefly, very quickly. So SUNY Downstate, it's essentially a Brooklyn hospital run by SUNY, and they are making the same exact claim that Mount Sinai is making, that the site isn't lucrative. Initially, they proposed a closure of that site in Brooklyn, and a report came out that health, access in Brooklyn was a serious issue that the Department of Health conducted. And so they've since changed their tune a bit and are now saying they're not closing, but they're really just moving some of the services and investing in health in other ways. And it's pretty unclear. The difference between the two is, of course, Mount Sinai is a different network, a very muddy network. SUNY is we're talking about public state funding, so we also have a little bit, it's easier to post that in certain ways. But I am working with Senator Myrie, who is the senator in that district, and Senator Tinchy up in the Hudson Valley, because there's another hospital closure. So these are 3 hospital closures from 3 different places being proposed. And we're trying to talk about building a broader coalition because I think it's a really, really big political problem for all of us, and a serious health issue for New Yorkers if we're closing multiple hospitals, especially while we're still in a health crisis.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no more questions, great, happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's. I appreciate the questions. My staffer, Peyton, is on the call, or should be there, and is happy. Please reach out to us if you have any more questions. Feel free to.
Yes,
talk to her. But thank you all so much. Okay. All right, I'm gonna head home.
Next, we have Tevin Williams from Congressman Goldman's office. We don't? Should we go on to? Yeah.
All right, go on, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Tevin, are you? Okay. We will go on. Oh,
How
sorry.
are you? No, it's okay. I was just being promoted to panelists. Good evening, CB6. It's good to see all of you here. Tevin Williams from Congressman Dan Goldman's office. I appreciate all of you. I have nothing to add to my report, but happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions?
It seems like Anne requests the floor.
Anne?
Yeah, I promise I won't have like a question for every elected, but I was really interested to see in the report that you guys are, fighting for Merchant's House with landmarks. And I just feel like I keep hearing from all different kinds of sources that landmarks is just falling down on the job. They are just not protecting things. And so I'm wondering if you or any of the other electeds that are here are thinking about taking kind of I'm glad you're doing this, but I wonder if there's kind of a broader look to be a deeper dive, something, I don't know what the analogy is, to make sure that they are in fact doing their job, because I think it's something important to many of us here.
Of course, and thank you for that question. And we stepped in to really, because Merchant's House is under the federal historic preservation. So we're coming and making sure that they're complying with that work. I will defer to my other colleagues on the city level for what can be done there, but I will tell you we are tracking this issue. And as you see in the report, we are supportive and have signed on to anything that has been happening. We'll definitely continue to monitor. And if you want to follow up with me after this meeting, please feel free to reach out to our office. I'm happy to help you with any questions you may have.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no more questions, happy Valentine's. We'll move on to Evelyn Collado from Controller Brad Lander's office.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I submitted the report. It now lives at the Community Board 6 database, but I wanted to take the opportunity to invite you to a panel discussion that the New York City Comptroller will be holding on the 26th this month from 6 to 8:30 at the Schomburg Center in honor of Black History Month. It's going to be a panel discussion, and we're going to hear from different community leaders on, the situation, economic and social disadvantages of Black New Yorkers. Again, thank you, and feel free to reach out with any questions at ecollad@comptroller.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. We're going to move on to Katie Lowe, who's here in person from Councilmember Rivera's office.
This is the mic. Hi, everyone. Katie Lowe from Councilmember Rivera's office. I am sorry to say I do have a few events that I would be remiss if I didn't let everyone know about. Tomorrow, we're going to be tabling at Kips Bay Library to tell people more about participatory budgeting. So if you have any questions and you're free from 4 to 5, stop by, say hi to our team, and learn how to get more involved. On February 22nd, Councilmember Rivera will be co-sponsoring a Black History Month celebration with speaker Adrian Adams, and celebrating the Coalition of Theaters of Color initiative. It's been funded by City Council for 20 years, so we get to celebrate. That is in Queens. It's a bit of a hike, but it's going to be a really beautiful event. And we're hosting a VITA-free tax prep with Nazareth Housing. So if you know any seniors, low-income families who need assistance on filing their taxes, we can help with that. It's by appointment, and that's on Thursday, March 7th. So those are the events, and I can answer any questions from our report.
Excellent, no questions.
All right, great. And I will say there's also more legislation that Councilmember Rivera introduced that didn't make the highlights. So check out our full newsletter because it has it all.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Braca Rosenberg from the Manhattan Borough President's Office.
Hello. I don't seem to be able to turn on my camera, but I can speak anyway.
You need to our promotion request, but you declined it, so that's why we can't see your camera.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, good. I can just speak. But mostly everything's in the report. So feel free to look at that to learn about our Black History Month celebration, as well as our tax prep and tax information sessions, and our Shetty Awards, the work we're doing on sidewalk sheds. And then finally, again, everybody knows that community board applications are now open, so please spread the word. Reapply if you're up for reappointment and you want to stay on board. We're looking to have a really great selection of new candidates for this board. Thanks, everyone. Happy February, happy Lunar New Year, happy Black History Month, and of course, happy Valentine's Day. And I hope you have a great evening. Happy to take any question.
Great, thank you. I don't think we have any questions. Excellent, thank you. Next, we have Joanna Sanchez from Assemblymember Epstein's office.
Hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. I'll make it brief. I have sent my newsletter over. Please note my camera's off because I'm currently under the weather, but I thank you, everyone, for your information. We have an upcoming Animal Care Center mobile adoption event that is in our newsletter, and the rest of our updates are in the newsletter as well. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to contact our office, and as other offices and other public officials are involved in, Assemblymember Epstein is doing everything possible to advocate to make sure that we fight to save Beth Israel. Thank you, everyone. Any questions?
No, it looks like there are none. Thank you very much. Next, we have Hannah Wienerman from Representative Nadler's office.
Hi, everyone. I don't have too much to add. I just want to flag that tax season is upon us, and we sent out a newsletter with a bunch of tax resources. One thing to flag is that the IRS Direct File Pilot Program is now eligible for New Yorkers. So if you are eligible, you can electronically file your 2023 federal taxes, not state, but all the information is on our website. So I just want to make sure to flag that, and happy to take any questions anyone has.
Okay, no questions.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
Next, we have Eric Stroza from the DA's office.
Hi, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Not too much to add. Just wanted to highlight the three programs that we've recently been accepting applications for younger New Yorkers, including our high school summer internship program, Gun Violence Prevention Fellowship, and Youth Ambassador Program. I know I also mentioned that we have some Safeguard Your Phone palm cards related to the uptick in phone scams that we're seeing, people kind of engineering ways to physically get a hold of somebody's phone and then send them using payment platforms, send themselves large sums of money. So these are what they look like. I'm happy to distribute them if anyone can see them, and then have virtual flyers for all of the programs that I mentioned before. Only other thing I want to mention is that we will have an executive team member from our office attending tomorrow's Public Safety Committee meeting to discuss shoplifting and some updates there. I'm sure Matt will go over that as well. I think that's all I have. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their evening, and I'll send it back to you.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no questions, we'll move on to Robin Forrest from the mayor's office.
Hello, happy Valentine's Day. I will keep my remarks brief in honor of the holiday. I don't know if people heard, but today the mayor announced that the city is filing a lawsuit to hold 5 social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube, accountable for fueling the nationwide mental health crisis among our youth. We are joining hundreds and hundreds of school districts around the country in this lawsuit, and it's estimated that we spend $100 million on youth mental health program services each year. A lot of money and a lot of ill effects. This
Lost your voice.
Oh,
You muted yourself, Robin.
Sorry about that. This is a kind of follow-up to Dr. Vassan's release last month calling unfettered access to social media as a public health hazard. I know some of you on this board are interested in that, and we will talk further about that. Second, I think you've heard that we have won with New Jersey the ability to host the FIFA World Cup 26th final in 2026. And it should be an exciting time for those of us who like soccer. We are supposed to be hosting 8 matches, including the final. If you want to put the date on your calendar, it's July 19th, 2026. And finally, the other topic I wanted to mention, perhaps you've heard, is that there's a new outdoor dining program that will go into effect in March of this year. There will be more guidance coming, but it's exciting that this program, which grew out of an unpleasant time, will continue. So that's it for me. I'm happy to take questions. I see Mark has his hand up. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Robin for putting together the mayor's town hall forum the other night that I attended. A bunch of us were there. I got some great shots of our chair, in fact, speaking. And happily, it actually got a lot of response from people in Stuytown. As I was coming and going today, different people asked me about things like the cleaning up of 14th Street and Beth Israel, the topics that were discussed. So that was great. Thank you. People heard about it that weren't there, and were excited about knowing that the mayor cared about things in our community and that he was going to take some action. So Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for saying
Cool.
that.
That was
It
good.
was very good to have many of you at that session. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. And we'll move on to Pat Hill from CM Power's office. Councilmember Power.
Good evening, everyone. I do not have anything to add to our submitted report, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
I don't think we have any for you this evening. Great. Thank you so
Have a great
much.
day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. That's the end of our elected officials reports. We are now on to the public session. And I believe we have someone who has pre-registered, Ralph Schweizer. Raphael, sorry. No? Okay, they're not here.
Actually, we have another person who has registered. Alyssa Ruiz.
Sorry.
Thank you. Alyssa Ruiz Nicholson, who wishes to speak to the board on an item on our agenda tonight, Resolution 2B. Incidentally, she spoke to our Health and Human Services Committee at their meeting in January. Ms. Nicholson.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. You have 3 minutes. You may begin your remarks now.
Thank you so much. I probably won't take up the 3 minutes. I just wanted to say good evening to everyone. And yes, as was mentioned, I am from the Committee of Interns and Residents. We did approach and we did speak to the full board, I believe back in December, and then we met with the Health and Human Services Committee in January. The Committee of Interns and Residents, we are a national labor union representing resident physicians across the country. We have about 30,000 plus members in over 11 states. And we have been approaching our community boards in New York City about the ongoing contract negotiations between CIR, the union that represents the resident physicians, and New York City Health and Hospitals. The resident physicians have been in contract negotiations with the city. They've been working under an expired contract and have not received raises since 2020. And we have been meeting with our boards that represent the different health and hospital institutions across the city to see if we can gain support from the community boards in support of our members receiving a fair contract and fair compensation for the work that they're doing. And so I know that the agenda item on tonight's agenda is a resolution from the Health and Human Services Committee, which we greatly appreciate. So I just wanted to give a little bit more background and make myself available for any questions that may be brought. Thank you.
Jim, you have a question?
Yeah, just curious, what time does your shift start as a resident or an intern at the hospital?
So I am not a resident physician. I am staff from CIR. I'm the Director of Community Relations and Engagement. I don't know exactly what time the members do report to work, but I can say that they do work on average about 80 hours a week. And yeah.
The reason I ask is, as you probably know, congestion pricing is coming into effect, and we are looking at an hour that starts at 5 a.m. Some of us would like to change that to 7, so that nurses and residents and what have you who work in pink, yellow, and green collar jobs can commute into the city without having to pay the $15. Particularly those who live in transit deserts. And I'm wondering if your union is aware of that. Thanks.
Thank you for that question. I'm sure congestion pricing is definitely something that would impact our members. So yeah, thank you for raising that.
Okay, seeing no other question or no other questions for you, thank you very much. We'll move on. The minutes from the January 10th full board meeting were distributed to board members ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand. Seeing no objection, the minutes from the January 10th full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. Next, we have the chair's report. I'd like to welcome Sarah Whittington to the board. Sarah joined the board this month and has very kindly joined us remotely while she is traveling. She will be joining the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee this month. You can introduce yourselves to her at the next full board meeting. Thank you to everyone who attended the Mayor's Town Hall. There was a really excellent showing from our board, and as we already heard, there was a lot of good discussion. One new item in our district, CB6 has been chosen as a site for one of the freight terminals for the Blue Highway. And you'll hear more about this, but several members brought this to our attention, so it's definitely going to be something that's going to affect us. We plan to learn more about that, so stay tuned. You will be hearing more from our committees regarding MSBI, where to make your comments on congestion pricing, and the next steps for the Spark project. And thank you again to all those who helped make our January 9th event a success. We'll plan to get together again soon. Our district manager's report. Our district manager, Jesus Perez, will now give his report.
Thank you. In the name of love, I'll waive my report.
Thank you. Gabe Turzo is going to give us a report on the budget.
Thank you. According to the OMB, our CB6 budget is for the fiscal year is $576,361. Of that, $332,612 is encumbered or already liquidated. $174,211 for rent. $144,175 for personal services, and $14,226 for other than personal services. Our unencumbered funds right now are $243,748, of which $128,081 are street fair funds. Thank you.
And does anyone question that? Sorry. So now we've arrived at our committee reports and resolutions. Members of the public, please note that during this session of the meeting, we only recognize questions from members of the The CB6 staff mailed the digital ballot to all members. Please click on the link in your email that the office sent to open the ballot. Select your name from the drop-down list and select your vote on each resolution presented. Again, I'm only going to say it once. Do not hit the submit button until later in the meeting after the final resolution is presented. At the end of the meeting, please submit after you have indicated all your votes on your ballot. You will not be able to submit the ballot unless you vote on every resolution. If you plan on abstaining, please select abstain. Final vote counts will be announced after the second roll call. If any part of our voting procedure is unclear, please raise your hand and we will address your question. So committee reports, we're going to start off with transportation. Jason Fromowitz, Chair.
Roses are red, violets are blue. New York City has a plan to reduce traffic and CO2. We hosted the MTA on the presentation. Toll instructor for congestion pricing. They discussed with us their need to raise ultimately $15 billion as part of the plan, and they talked about the real-time data that they'll be collecting as part of the program on vehicles entering and exiting the congestion zone. Though notably, they'll only be charging the congestion toll for vehicles that enter the zone, but we will have the data for vehicles that both enter and exit the zone. Public comments are open until March 11th. Anybody can submit their comments on the proposal on the details of that on the MTA's website. We did initially have a motion regarding a resolution on the proposal, but we had some difficulty reaching consensus on the exact copy of it. meeting. So we've ultimately decided, mutually that it'd be more sensitive to just bring it back to committee and not opt in full position resolution on today. And that is all.
Jim?
Yeah. I watched the video of your meeting and I've been raising this issue for several months. This is going to have a serious impact on residents of the community district, particularly those like me who live in buildings that have accessory garages. We're looking at a substantial hit to our revenue budget from the rental of the garage. We're also looking at additional wages that will have to be paid to our building staff and who mostly live in transit deserts and who drive into work at exceedingly early hours. I know that this board has approved the general concept of of congestion pricing, but the hours go from 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken.
Monday to Friday, yes.
Yes, and London did this originally, and they since walked it back. They now go from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. so that, I'm sorry, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. so that their West End Theater, which is the equivalent of our Broadway, their downtown restaurants and what have you, are not affected. Moreover, it would seem to me that you would be better off charging a higher charge for coming in during hours such as 7 till 6 to eliminate congestion pricing than charging people who are in a relatively low congestion time zone, such as from 7 a.m. till from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. And I think perhaps your transportation committee may want to take a look at the timing. I don't have an issue so much with what we are approving, but I think the timing and the implementation is erroneous and it will seriously and adversely impact our neighborhood and our residents. Thanks.
So the timing definitely was something that came up during the discussion from members of the committee and the community. So you're not alone in that, get those feelings. I would encourage you to submit the feedback to the MTA and I would encourage you to submit the feedback to the MTA. And they have the
problem is though that we as a committee are on record as simply saying we approve it without any of the, without trimming it, without conditioning it in any regard.
So ultimately,
we've left it basically up to the MTA to dictate terms to us, which affect our constituents, and we really shouldn't allow that.
So we're not officially taking a position. We did
have in the past.
Yes, there was a resolution in 2016 that we previously supported the concept of congestion pricing, but definitely didn't go into any of the specifics of times. It also included a free show proposal.
I think perhaps we should.
To comment on the time. I mean, the problem that we ultimately were facing here is that you received the presentation from the MTA, and I think they agree. Ultimately, the comment period, public comment period is open until March 11th. We wouldn't have had time to really iron a detailed proposal of what we'd like in like. We initially planned to just have a resolution in support of it. That proves difficult without having to kind of really writing ahead of time. So we can still tentatively pass a resolution. We'll be fine bringing it up in the next meeting. But just to note that we will be past the public comment period.
Great. Oh, sorry, Jerry has a question.
Since Jim raised it, I would only add, research into London actually already records its many benefits. They've added 300 buses. They have raised 282 million. They have tripled their fee since they started it.
So, sorry, Jerry, we're not here to discuss
I-
congestion pricing.
Just to say.
But we encourage everyone to make comments, please. I think there's a lot of information on our website and we'll be sending out additional information as well. So by March 11th, please submit comments, any ideas that you have, be much appreciated. Anything else, Jason?
That is all.
Great, thank you. Next we have Health and Human Services, Elvie Barroso.
Everyone. So we have three wrestle tonight, and the first one is about supporting the New York City Council in relation to emergency response protocols on days of air quality emergency. And this wrestle was drafted by Barack.
I'm sorry, Elvie, can you speak up, please? Or move closer to the mic or something?
Elvie, come here. Come closer to here.
Good. All right, so the first wrestle was drafted by Barack. So I would like to thank Barack. So if you have any question on that.
Great, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please open your digital ballot and vote. Okay, Elvie, do you want to go on to the next?
The second one is supporting this is supporting the committee of interns and residents at Bellevue Hospital and Associated New York City Health and Hospital facilities in their contract negotiation.
And do we have any comments or questions?
Any questions?
Rob?
Just a quick comment that when they presented, they showed data of 2025, how much the residents at Bellevue and the other health and services hospital will be making, and it's dead last by several $1,000s in the entire city. So just to kind of put it in perspective.
The next figure is about 70,000.
Any other comments or if there's no objections, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please go ahead. And that'll be your third.
And the third one is opposing the proposed closure of the Mount Sinai Beth Israel Hospital.
Jason?
I'm struggling with this a little bit. I don't support the closure of the hospital, but I guess I don't really understand the alternatives in like can a private hospital that be forced to continue operating? I guess I'm not sure what can be done. How can the hospital be compelled to continue operating at a loss? Like, how is that?
Yeah,
How is that possible?
that is a big question. So anyway, last February 8th, we're supposed to have a combined meeting with Community Board 2 because we've invited somebody from MSBI and from the state DOH. But unfortunately, because of the litigation, they didn't show up. So most of our questions were not answered. And regardless of those questions, the community board stand is opposing the closure of the Mount Sinai Beth Israel.
Great. If there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. And Elvie, do you have a report? No. Oh,
no. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Land use and waterfront. Michelle Abdul Samad.
Thank you very much. Hey, everybody. Tonight we have one resolution. It's about Spark. Again, Spark is the Science Park and Research Campus that's coming not far from here, literally across the APR. This is not a resolution in favor or opposed. This is just putting on the record our comments after they came and presented to us. It's a very exciting proposal, in case you haven't seen it, highly encourage it. They are coming back in February to present a little more details to us. So February 22nd, February 26th at 6:30 for the Land Use and Water Farm Committee. They, the SPARK folks, these are EDC, will come present a little more details ahead of the scoping meeting, which is in March. So again, thanks Gabe for writing this resolution. If anybody has any questions.
Kevin?
It's just a comment. I just wanted to applaud you and Dave, not only for writing, but baking in the environmental and housing concerns that we have in the community. I thought it was very thoughtful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. If there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please go ahead. And sorry, Michelle, do you have a report?
No report, just inviting everybody again to attend February 26th. If you have any other thoughts on Spark, and we will talk also about open restaurants. So there's a lot happening in our next committee meeting. Thank you.
Great. Next, we have Anton Muller, who's Vice Chair of the Business Affairs and Licensing.
Ordinarily Claire will be here, but unfortunately she's in Antarctica right now and is not able to make the meeting, so she offers her apologies. Anyway, we have a couple of resolutions over here. First one, resolution no objection for method of operation change on the premises for Arch Street Restaurant. The committee had no issues with this, nor their hours of operation, and we recommend that this be approved by the full board.
Okay. If there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Okay.
The second resolution, no objection for a license, cannabis license for dispensary at Media NW LLC. We reviewed this. We had no objections to this business. It appears to have been completely within the rules and regulations of the cannabis board, and we recommend again that we use the full board for approval.
And Jim has a question.
Last August, the city council passed an ordinance that requires the city to report all illegal cannabis shops, and it would impose a $10,000 fine on the owner of those shops. And I'm just wondering if your committee or any of our elected officials have seen that report yet. It's supposed to be reported quarterly whenever there's an illegal cannabis shop cited by the city, and it can be cited by any department of the city, from sanitation to, you know, the parking police.
I have no knowledge of that.
I'm going to oppose this resolution for the same reason that I've opposed others in the past. Until we start seeing enforcement of these illegal shops, I don't see how anybody on this committee can support the legal shops. Thanks.
Your idea, the more legal shops we have, hopefully the fewer illegal shops we'll have. I think the issue of enforcement is out of the jurisdiction of this committee. The third resolution.
Oh, sorry, Anton, we should vote if.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Sandra, sorry. Yeah.
I know there's a cannabis shop on, this is between 18th and 19th, I think. There's one between 20th and 21st. Is there a map of cannabis shops? I don't know the difference between what's legal and what's illegal, but certainly there's a whole lot of them. And so I don't know what I'm voting on in terms of unit density. So do we have a map for our district of these shops? Because I would like to see that.
Yeah, no, we do not.
Well,
We know, we actually, I think we have a documentation of the ones that we have given support to that would be legal. But probably, I think, I'm not sure.
There is a list on Office of Cannabis Management that lists all the legal shops, the ones that have been approved by them and in community boards. And I think there are 12 or 13 for the whole state. And I'm sure, as you know, there are about 1,200 illegal shops, at least in the New York City area. And it's not a matter of whether the Cannabis Control Board is approving legal shops. The matter is that the powers that be are not enforcing the law on illegal cannabis shops. And we know that even if they do try to enforce it, there are legal ways to keep these shops open while it goes through the education process. It's unfortunate, but this is the way the law works.
Sandra, Sandra, if you're interested in seeing the list that Anton is referring to, send an email to info to the office. And we can provide you with that list, or you can look for it on the Office of Cannabis Management website. The last time I looked at the list 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago, there were no legal ones in this community district. So you can assume that the ones that are open are illegal. But as of about 3 weeks ago, there are no legal ones in this community district.
It's a density in my neighborhood, which is troubling. Right? I understand the issue of what's legal or not, but somehow voting on it also suggests we're okay with this proliferation, which I'm not, because I'm losing the real shops of my neighborhood. So somehow that has to be addressed. And I love maps as opposed to, or can't we get a map of the legals and the illegals? Right, so we know what we're actually dealing with in our neighborhood.
That would be difficult since they pop up almost daily. The issue is that we are approving legal shops. Whether this increases the density of cannabis retailers is not our issue. The issue is that this board, this community board, should be looking at legal uses of cannabis which comply with the law. What the Cannabis Management Board and New York City and maybe New York State police should be doing is enforcing current law so that we can get rid of some of these or all of these illegal shops.
Okay, probably I actually disagree, but that's fine. So I understand your point. I wish though we had more control in our neighborhoods of what's developing and forming something legal or illegal. We still are dealing with the same issue of density and loss of the local shops that we live by. That's the point. I feel very strongly with that, and I understand the rest of it.
Yeah, I will say this, you know, we also approve or not approve, but recommend or not recommend liquor licenses. And we know that if somebody tries to open an illegal liquor shop or tries to sell liquor in an establishment that has not been licensed, that's almost immediately shut down. This is what we'd like to see for these illegal cannabis shops.
And Jim, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to suggest, I don't understand why the Cannabis Management Board can't put a QR code in the licensed shops and let that QR code be scanned, registering the address, the license number, the names of the proprietors, etc. So that people will know.
They do actually require that.
I know, but people aren't aware of it. And actually, I passed by one down on the Lower East Side that had a fake sticker. So, you know.
Okay, we'd like to move on. If there's no objection, we'll vote on this resolution.
Okay. Third resolution is resolution no comment for Smiles Exotics, 201 East 30th. The members of the committee had a difficulty with this one. If we didn't want to recommend it or not recommend it. Smiles came to us in April 2023 to open a dispensary at the same address, but it was supposed to be only for delivery. That is to say, it was not a retail shop. All of a sudden, at the end of December, we discovered that they had requested a change in license from a completely non-retail to a retail establishment. While they still were within the rules of the Cannabis Control Board, we felt that this was a kind of bait and switch, and we were not so happy about it. This is why we decided not to give them a in favor nor unfavorable report, because they were within the rules of the Cannabis Control Board.
Kevin?
I'll just point out that they were not in compliance with the Cannabis Control Board. Community Board 1 actually just passed a resolution unanimously in infectious community, but it passed in full board that said anything within 500 feet, period, of a school is not only against the state regulations, but against the latest OCM regulations that OCM adopted. So they took that hard stance, not within 500 feet of school. That's how I voted all along. It's within 500 feet of school. No, it's against the law. If it's 500 feet or more, I've supported every one of them. So I just wanted to point that out.
I will say this, that one of the issues we have with the Cannabis Control Board, so by the time the license reaches us, we are of the assumption, we grew up in the assumption that they would have looked at the location and whether this location was within the parameters of the state law in terms of distance from schools, houses of worship, or public use facilities. Now, again, and I'm going to talk about this in my report. The question is, the Cannabis Control Board has not rolled out these regulations in a very consistent manner. They don't, as the governor said last week, it really has been screwed up. So that puts the various community boards in this city at a very great disadvantage because we don't know what rules are hard and fast, and we don't know whether our recommendations are even taken seriously or not. And I have suggested that we contact all the community boards, particularly in Manhattan, that we get together and really put pressure on Office of Cannabis Management to give more clear guidance as to what they expect in terms of their approvals for licensing, and that they take the responsibility of ensuring that the licensee applicant is within the rules of New York State in terms of distance from schools, houses of worship, and places of public interest. So we feel very, very conflicted about this. We do want businesses to be in our community, like restaurants with liquor licenses or liquor stores. But the fact is that all the community boards have been up in the air in terms of having these approvals. And we understand that some community boards are not even considering looking at cannabis applicants because they are not sure of the rules under which they're operating.
Larry?
And thank you for this explanation. I'm still confused. A resolution of no comment strikes me as an acquiescence, and to vote no on this resolution is also acquiescence. And so I'm not quite sure how to vote.
I'm not quite sure what the Office of Cannabis Management wants us to do.
Great. If there's no objection, we'll now vote. Oh, I'm sorry, we have some, Anne, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, I just was really struck by, I think Anton said, you know, we could always rely on SLA to, like, you know, applications are going to correctly abide by, you know, distances from churches and schools and that kind of thing. And I feel like maybe we're just still in a learning curve. But I'm not sure. I feel like we're saying, well, you know, OCM is going to do that, and OCM is thinking, no, you know, community boards are going to do that. And I'm not sure either are happening. And I think, honestly, going back to a previous conversation, I think the biggest problem is that there are just so many that are illegal. Like, I'm much more concerned about enforcement and shutting down the illegal ones. But I think as long as, like, we go by, and I think we have developed, you know, sort of a rubric for what we think is acceptable. And I think we do like we do with restaurants or with bars. It is a little different though, because these are retail establishments, not consumption establishments. And so that there is a little different discussion there, but it's a discussion for the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee, not for here.
Great, thank you. So if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. And Anton, you have a report.
Well, I think I've.
Said.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Next up, we have Matt Roberts with Public Safety.
All right, good evening, everyone. The Public Safety Committee is asking you to consider one resolution tonight, which deals with adding 31 offenses to the list of eligible offenses for hate crimes. Same questions.
So I actually did, I noticed there was an article that graffiti was going to be listed as one of the crimes, and there was a lot of discussion about that because it's hateful graffiti, it's not all graffiti. Is that on the list?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, that's definitely one of the most common offenses that we've seen locally in this district, since October, really. So, that's something that is definitely on everyone's radar.
Because I think the concern was that it would stop graffiti artists.
No, again, we've had extensive discussion on this, and what it really means is it's giving the prosecutors the ability to charge these, but there's still a huge burden of proof that they need to establish.
Thank you. Marion, you had a question?
It was really nice to see the preventative measures on here, so, who would the trainings be for? I think it lists de-escalation trainings, de-escalation training. Who would get that training? And I was also wondering if there are any examples of restorative justice interventions and measures that are being used already.
I don't know if you would have any examples. I know, yeah, I'm not off the top of my head, but we can sort of laugh offline.
Great, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. And Matt, do you have a report?
No real report, just a reminder that we have our meeting tomorrow night, which will be focusing on retail theft and shoplifting. We have many experts that will be joining us tomorrow, so hopefully it will be a good conversation. And then we did also discuss the cannabis shops last month, but I think we'll have a more in-depth discussion on that in March for the public safety element. Okay.
Larry has a question.
Just in case we didn't have this on your list of things to answer about. There's a proliferation of sidewalk thieves markets, which are associated with the retail theft, and personally observed that some of these sidewalk merchants have vehicles come to the curb and deliver to them supplies. And so there seems to be a much bigger and more organized effort. I don't think that the police realize this, or they realize that they don't understand the depth to which this goes.
Yeah, that'll certainly be part of our conversation tomorrow. I think everybody's aware that it's happening. I don't know, if they're aware of every instance in which it's happening. That's something we'll be trying to tackle is, where, when goods are stolen, where do they go? So you sort of have to follow the path there. And I feel like that's not happening as often as it should be.
Great, thank you. Next, we have Nat Kalani, Chair of Budget and Governmental Affairs.
Well, to keep mine quick, we had our meeting on Monday, we received the preliminary budget from the mayor's office, so we were reviewing that. I think the big discussion we had on Monday was really talking about how to make sort of our entire budget review process as a community board more like proactive versus reactive. We're gonna be discussing that more in the next meeting. If anybody has any thoughts on that, I know a lot of people have been here longer than I have, so definitely send them over. We're gonna talk about that next meeting and how we wanna basically sort of restructure that process. So that we're able to get things sort of before the summer break, get thoughts sort of organized, and then get thoughts sort of finalized in September and October meetings. So I'll be planning on discussing next meeting. The other update would just be around the redistricting process. So I know that the independent panel is supposed to meet tomorrow to discuss like their new redistricting plan. They haven't released the plan yet. That's coming out around the meeting tomorrow. We're going to continue to monitor that and really see if there's anything there where we should comment or anything that really impacts our community board.
Thank you. Any questions? Great. Joan DeRico is not here this evening, but Youth and Education, we'll hear about their agenda coming up. Environment and Parks, Neil. Is Neil?
He's on.
Apparently Neil wasn't able to make it this evening either. And Housing and Homelessness, Rich. Meets our chair.
Yes, I'm gonna waive my report. We're meeting on, Wednesday next, I think? Thursday. And you're all welcome to join us.
Okay, any old or new business? Board members, if you have any old or new business to say, please raise your hand. Mary.
Happy news, the Little Shop of Kindness is open. We found a permanent spot. It's a free store for migrants. And it's located at Avenue Church on First Avenue between 90th and 91st on Jeffries. So please donate clothes or come volunteer.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. Seeing no other new old business, we will have our second roll call. Livia will conduct the second roll call.
Angela Gilson, Kyle Thane,
He's online. Kyle,
And
he's still logged on.
Kyle Thane,
and sorry, Livia, just to remind everyone to submit their ballots now. Thank you.
okay. Neil Barkley, Martin Barrett, Elvie Barroso, Claire Brennan, Jim Collins, Jonathan DeRico, Stuart Deser,
Yes.
Beatrice Disman,
Present.
Barack Friedman,
Present.
Jason Fromowitz, Eric Goldberg, Gerald Jones, Paige Judge, Rupal Kakad, John Keller, Nadine Polani, Abigail Cruzmark, Sandra Lefkoff, David Lowenstein, Anton Malner, Sandra McKee.
Present.
And don't forget to submit your ballot thing.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Livia, Kyle has an audio issue, but he indicated in the chat that he's present.
Great. Richard Mintz, Rajesh Nair,
Present.
Kevin O'Keefe, Stephen O,
Present.
Reshma Patel, Stephen Perez, Miriam Ralph, Matt Roberts, Roberto Ruiz Melendez, Lawrence Shayer, Anne Seligman,
Present.
Sandra Sherrod, Olivia Shudnick, present. Letty Simon,
Present.
Susan Steinberg, Mark Thompson,
Present.
Gabriel Churzo, Jerry Weinstein, Matthew Weintraub, Sarah Whittington,
Present.
Hader Zaidi.
Okay, and I will announce the results of the votes on tonight's resolutions. Health and Human Services, 2A, 33 in favor, everyone voting in favor. Health and Human Services, 2B, 29 in favor, no opposed, 3 abstentions.
I'm sorry. Sorry, people were standing in the door.
Oh, sorry. Health and Human Services 2B, 29 in favor, no opposed, 3 abstentions, 1 not entitled. That passes. Health and Human Services 2C, 27 in favor, 3 opposed, 2 abstentions, 1 not entitled. That passes. Land Use and Waterfront 3A, 31 in favor, no opposed, 2 abstentions. That passes. Business Affairs and Licensing 4A, 33 in favor, everyone voting in favor. That passes. Business Affairs and Licensing 4B, 25 in favor, 5 opposed, 3 abstentions. That passes. Business Affairs and Licensing 4C, 22 in favor, 7 opposed, 4 abstain. That passes. Public Safety 5A, 30 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 abstentions. That passes. And happy Valentine's Day.
Right. So actually, I think I have, seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:51. Thank you all.